In this application problem, we're trying to calculate the total cost of covering a rectangular field. So first of all, let's gather all the information and put it in a nice way so it can help us to figure out what we already have and what we need to find the answer. So the rectangular field measures 72 meters by 162 meters. So draw a little rectangle and label the size. So this side is 72 meters and the length of this width is 162 meters. Okay, so that's the first piece of information. And what will it cost to cover the field with pallets of grass, each covering 90 square yards and costing $211 per pallet? So from this question, actually, we can get two pieces of information. One is the unit cost. So the unit cost is going to be, so the unit cost of covering the rectangular field is $211 per pallet. The second piece of information we can get from that question, it is one pallet of grass. Okay, one pallet of grass actually is 90 square yards. Okay, so we got these two from that question. And then here in the problem, it gives you a little hint. Okay, so 1 yard is approximately 0.9 meters. So let's put that here as well. So 1 yard equal to approximately equal to, so 0.9 meters. So these are the information we gathered from the problem. Now think about the question. So what will it cost to cover the field? You see, we already have the unit cost. So it is $200, so $211 per pallet. So if we can figure out how many pallets we need, then we can multiply the number of pallets by the unit cost. Then we get the answer, right? So we're going to basically go ahead and find the number of pallets. Okay, the number of pallets of grass needed. So we need this number so that we can figure out the total cost. So to do this, first of all, we're going to take a look at the area of this rectangular field. So basically how big it is. Since it's a rectangular field, and remember the area of rectangles is length times width, right? So in our case, that becomes 72 times 162, and that number is 11,664 square meters. So the unit here is square meter. That's because the unit they use to measure the length and the width are meters. Okay, so we need to figure out how many pallets fits in this rectangular field. Okay, and one pallet, remember one pallet is equal to 90 square yards. Okay, so the unit is square yards. So what's the relationship between square yards and then square meters? So to figure that out, take a look at the last piece of information here. So 1 yard is approximately 0.9 meters. So that's telling us 1 square yard. Okay, 1 square yard actually is going to be approximately equal to 0.9 times 0.9, which gives you 0.81 square meters. So if 1 square yard is approximately 0.81 square meters, then 90 square yard will be approximately equal to 90 of these 0.81 square meters. So multiply these two together, then you will get 72.9. So 72.9 square meters. So if 1 square yard is approximately 0.81 square meter, then 90 square yard will be approximately 72.9 square meter. Okay, so that's how big a pallet of grass is equal to. So using this and the area of the rectangular field, then we can figure out how many pallets are needed. Okay, so since we have total this big of area, so we can do a division, because this is how big one pallet is. And I remember we want to figure out how many pallets that fits into this area, right? So the number of pallets needed, okay, is going to be equal to 11,664 divide 72.9, and that number is equal to 160. Okay, so to cover this field, 160 pallets of grass will be needed. And remember, they want the total cost, right? Not just, the number of pallets of grass. So now we multiply this number with the unit cost. So cost of covering the field is going to be, okay, the number of pallets needed, which is 160, okay, time the unit cost, which is $211 per pallet. So multiply by 211, and that number is $33,760. So that will be the total cost of covering this rectangular field.